Well, hello, friends. Today I'm going to read you a story called Written in Stone. This goes along with Investigation 1 on mock rocks. After I finish reading the story, I'm going to ask you to respond to some questions. Those questions are in the assignment post. If you could write your responses to those questions and jot down your answers, and then show your picture to me when you're finished, and just read aloud your responses, that will count as a grade for this assignment. All right, friends, so here we go. Written in stone. Dear Lewis, remember how you worried about my vacation with Aunt Rita, the geologist? She has to work, you said. You'll be so bored. Were you ever wrong? Let me tell you what I've been doing. Part of Aunt Rita's job reminds me of a scavenger hunt. She doesn't look for things on a list, though. Aunt Rita goes out into the country and makes a list of everything she sees. She collects facts for the U.S. Geological Survey. They publish maps and information that tell people where rocks, minerals, and resources are found. Last week, we hunted for rock formations. Aunt Rita uses a field notebook to record how long, wide, and high each rock is. She looks to see whether it's angled or level. Then she plots its position on a map. I help her to describe the different rocks. I look at their colors, textures, and shapes. I even have a hand lens to use while I'm here. That way, I can look at the rocks more closely. Sometimes it helps me if I can see the crystals on a rock's surface. Aunt Rita studies rocks to learn their histories. When she picks up a rock, she tries to figure out what it's made of. And how and when it was formed. She wants to learn what has happened to the rock, too. Where did it come from? Has it moved around? Was it carried by a glacier or in a landslide? Did it travel in a stream? Think about it. A stone you pick up in your backyard has already had a whole lot of adventures. The other day, we were out in a flat, dry desert. The only thing growing was a kind of short, scrubby bush. But Aunt Rita looked at the rocks and said that the ground right where I was standing had once been underwater. Are you wondering how she knew? It was because we found sedimentary rocks there. These rocks were made from tiny bits of shells and calcite, Aunt Rita told me. She said the shells and calcite had settled to the bottom of the sea that used to be there. Over time, they were pressed together and turned into rock. I'm bringing a piece of a sedimentary rock back for you. That's another thing Aunt Rita does. She uses a rock hammer to break off samples of the rocks. She puts them in a sample bag and notes where they came from. Then she brings them back to a lab so she can study them up close. My favorite afternoon so far is the one we spent by a river. The water had worn a channel into the rock, and we could see different layers. When we counted the layers, we were really counting how many times lava had flowed from a volcano. The rocks told Aunt Rita that at one time the volcano had exploded. Tiny particles had spewed out of the volcano in a huge scorching cloud. The little particles were still so hot when they settled to the ground that they stuck together. Aunt Rita showed me the particles. I'd never imagined rock could form that way. We also took a sample of lava rock from the riverbed to a lab. Aunt Rita said the sample was basalt. She wanted to look at it under a microscope. I watched her prepare the rock. First, she sawed off a thin piece with a special saw. The piece was about a half centimeter, quarter-inch thick. She used a wheel covered with grit to smooth and polish one side of the piece. Then she glued the smooth side to a glass slide. She used the wheel again to grind down and polish the other side of the sample. Finally, it was so thin that you could see a light shine through it. Aunt Rita put the slice of basalt under the microscope. I wish you could have seen it, Lewis. It had a beautiful pattern of brightly colored shapes, like a stained glass window. Aunt Rita pointed out glassy particles and crystals to me. It's funny how something can look completely different when you look at it more closely. While we were at the lab, I took out the piece of sedimentary rock I'm giving to you. If you look at it from the side, you can see layers. When I asked Aunt Rita about some dark spots, she got out a chisel and hammer. With a few careful taps, she split the rock where one layer laid over another. Guess what we found? The darker spots were fossils. Wait till you see them. Lewis, there must be 10 little fish. Each one is about 5 centimeters or 2 inches long. You can see a perfect outline of their bodies and bones. I can't imagine how long ago they died and fell to the bottom of that sea. Aunt Rita says the sea probably dried up before people even existed on the planet. Another thing I'm doing here is making a rock collection. That will be my own little record of the Earth's past. Whenever I can, I'll write to you too, Lewis. That way, you'll have the history of my vacation. Your friend, Teresa. P.S. I thought you'd like to see these postcards Aunt Rita sent me over the last few years. There are a lot of interesting rocks in the world. All right, my friends, now it is your chance to answer some questions that I have. Once again, use some lined paper, jot down your answers, listen to the story if you need to, and hold up your paper and read me your responses. Can't wait to hear what you come up with. See you on the next lesson. Bye.